All right, let's knock out my favorite EPs, splits, and demos for the year. Um, I debated on doing this, but because I haven't really listened to a whole lot of them this year. In past years, it's always been, I feel like the majority of what I listened to in past years were EPs and demos because that is like what a lot of the underground death metal bands release. But this year just seemed like it wasn't a top priority for me. For whatever reason, the full lengths just reigned supreme when it came to my listening habits. But I do have 10 here that I did listen to this year that I really enjoyed. So they're worthy of being called out into a video for sure. So and I ranked them because people like rankings apparently. I tried to not do that this year, but I failed miserably. And yeah, so thank you everybody for all the support for the last couple of days. A lot of people enjoyed the top death metal series that I just released. All 5 parts are live, and then I also put all 5 parts together and made over an hour long video and uploaded that yesterday because some people said they wanted to watch it all together. So you're a glutton for punishment because my God, that's a long time to listen to me talk. Jesus. So let's start at number 10. Number 10 is one that I don't own yet. I need to get it. Working on it is a new Undergang EP that came out this year. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the title of it. Yeah, I mean, what is there to be said about Undergang that hasn't already been said on this channel? It is one of my favorite death metal bands, modern death metal bands, I should say, because they are pretty modern. They've been around since 2010. I mean, it's been a while. They've been around, but the band is out of Denmark, if you're not familiar, and they released an EP this year along with several other pieces of music that they released. This EP is very good. It's pretty much your standard Undergang. It's if you know the band, you know what you're getting. It's the dirty sounding, filthy death metal, but it's so good. I actually think this is some of the best music that they've released since their last album, Aldrich I Live It, which came out in 2020. Since then, they've released one split with Cadaver Incubator, which was like a Christmas split. That was a good split. I really enjoyed it. You should pick that up. It's pretty much everywhere. You can find it on House Headbangers, probably can find it in Head Split, stuff like that. They also released another split with Anatomia, which I think is a very underrated death metal band, like a death doomy band. You should listen to Anatomia. That split is also very good. And then there was another split, which was like a 4-way split with Dequisitor, Frenolith, and Taphos. That was a good split, or good 4-way split as well. The song that Undergang had on there was pretty good. But then we're getting closer to this EP now, and they released a split with Spectral Voice, which is not on my top 10. And the reason for that is because I didn't really care too much for the Spectral Voice song, which is weird to say because I've listened to their new album that's coming out next year. Yeah, that's right. I've already heard it. I got the promo when it was announced last week, and I've listened to it several times. And for whatever reason, the song on that album with Undergang didn't do it for me, but the new album is very good. So we'll get to that when 2024 hits. But the Undergang side of that album was my favorite. I really enjoyed those songs on there, and I heard a progression with their music. They just seemed like heavier, filthier sounding. The production was a little bit better, and that's more of the same for this EP that came out. So I think that in recent years, this is their best music they released. So if you're a fan of Undergang, you're going to really enjoy this. You should definitely check it out. It is out on Dark Descent Records, I think, did the CD, and then Me Saco Un Ocho did the vinyl version. So I need to pick it up. I'm slacking, but it is very good. At number 10, or at number 9 is a band that was probably the most requested band for me to listen to this year. Not even kidding. It is called Stenched, with Gorging on Mephitic Rot on Blood Harvest. Blood Harvest is a record label out of Sweden. I think they're in Sweden, and the prices to get their stuff into the U.S. isn't too bad. So, but also they're distributed through NWN. So if you're looking for any sort of Blood Harvest records releases, that's where you get it for the US. But yeah, this demo is a band. I think it's a one-man. Yeah, it's a one-man death metal project out of Mexico. And I've never heard anything about it, but I saw the album cover and it was trending on Bandcamp for a while now. It still is. It's still there. And a lot of people were messaging me and saying, hey, have you heard this yet? It's awesome. You're going to really enjoy it. Have you heard Stench? Have you heard Stench? Did you buy it? Blah, blah, blah. And I finally listened to it, and it is very good. It's murky, filthy death metal. It reminds me like a blend of Cryptworm, Cerebral Rot, and Undergang. So if the three of them had a threesome and they just somehow popped out a baby, it would be Stenched. It's full of dirty riffs and heavy chugs, and it is a really, really good demo. In terms of underground death metal, this is probably some of the best music to come out this year when it in that genre. So if you haven't heard this yet, definitely check it out. I know that it's like the CD. I've seen the CDs everywhere. There's been distributed everywhere, so it's pretty easy to get. So if you look on Bandcamp and you notice that it's kind of expensive, like check Headsplit, check places like that, because I'm pretty sure that they've gotten this in stock several times. Number 8 is Carcinoid. I did a whole entire video on this. This is Encomium to Extinction. Carcinoid is awesome, first of all, and this EP I'm a huge fan of. This is the Headsplit Records CD. There's also a vinyl on Me Saco Un Ocho. Are you seeing a trend here for what I'm talking about? The band is out of Australia, and their first full length was released back in 2019, so it had been a while since they released music. I was happy that they finally released an EP. This is very good. Old school style of death metal. There's the doomier elements into there, but it's fun, it's engaging, and like I said, I did a whole entire video on this, so I'll link it in the description so you can go back and listen to it. But this needs to be shout out once again. This is very, very good. So check this out if you're looking for some newer death metal to listen to. It's definitely worth your time. Number 7 is Depigus with Wet Market. This came out on Frozen Screams and Headsplit. This band is awesome. If you're not familiar with Depigus, oh man, they're interesting. They're an interesting death metal band. I forgot to pull up my notes. Of course I did. The band is out of the US, and this is their first bit of music since 2021. They released a full length back in 2021 called Bushmeat, and that was one of my favorite releases to come out that year. So good. It's really, crushing death metal, but they with like fantastic riffs, chugs, gurgs, but they also incorporate like animal noises and stuff. It's very unique, that this incorporation that they added into it. It's kind of like, I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's a very unique band, and they have a really cool sound. It's different. It's a little bit, it's a lot different than what I'm normally listening to when it comes to death metal, but still it's crushing death metal at the same time. So they released this EP. It's simply phenomenal. This band just keeps getting better and better every time I listen to them. And they do have a new full length coming out next year in January. So that is one of my most anticipated releases to come out. I've heard it. Some of it. I've heard a few things of it. I have not listened to the full entire promo yet, but I'm excited to dig into that. It's very good. So check out this band if you're not familiar. They're so good. Number 6 is the Worm and Dream Unending split on $20 spin. So this one was a grower on me. I liked it when I first heard it, but kind of didn't listen to it a whole lot afterwards. And then I started pulling it and listening to it more and more because I love Worm. I'm a huge Worm fan. I've talked about Worm 1,000 times on here. This was my favorite album when it came out. Was it last year? No, it was 2 years ago. Last year they came out Blue Nothing, which would have probably been my favorite full-length album, but it was an EP. Anyway, Dream Unending side is what you expect from Dream Unending. It's progressive death metal with the slow death doom build-up. The vocals are the same, but they have incredible guitar riffs, very proggy, and a lot of people kind of don't prefer that in their death metal, or it's a grower on them, so just keep that in mind. And then the Worm side, Worm has 3 tracks on here, and they are pretty much still that funeral black and death doom that they've been doing for the last several years, but they definitely are starting to lean a little bit more into the black metal side, and I've noticed that. And you can tell by the promo pictures. Phantom Slaughter looking quite handsome there. And then the notable thing about this split that I really enjoy, and admittedly is the reason why I bought the physical copies of it, is because this is a Mark Riddick artwork color, which this is like a first. Like, he's known for his black and white colors, so of course I had to grab that. So Phenomenal split. It was a grower on me. It took me a couple of listens to get into it, but now I've been listening to it a lot, especially now that it's like cooler out in Florida. That death doom black metal stuff is what I tend to listen to a lot around this time of the year. So check this out if you haven't yet. It's good. Number 5 is another EP that I've talked about 100 times on here, and that is Winter Spells with Winds of Eternity. Again, my notes, for whatever reason, my browser keeps crashing. It's really annoying. I don't know what's going on with my computer, but my notes keep crashing. So let's pull those back up again. It is a U.S. black metal band. This is the only thing that they have out, and it's out on Banner of Blood. It looks like it's a 2-piece, and one of the members in this band is from a bunch of other bands, but one notable one is Till, and it is very good, frosty black metal, melodic black metal, which is some of my favorite black metal music. So this is very good. Definitely check it out. Not hard to find. You can get it on Banner of Blood still. I'm pretty sure they have color copies and all that other stuff, but I picked up mine through Hell's Headbangers because they had it in stock when I was putting in a big order. So check this out if you want some new frosty black metal. I really hope that they make a new album soon, because I'm yearning for more of music aside from this 4-track EP. Number 4 is something I haven't talked about here yet, and that is the new Full of Hell and Nothing. It's not a split because they play the music together. Compilation, I guess you could say. It's basically it's pretty much a full-length album for the most part, but not at the same time. It's kind of weird. So they did this with the Primitive Man collaboration too. So I don't really know. I guess you can consider it a split. So anyway, this is on Closed Casket Activities, and blew me by surprise. I was really surprised at how much I like this. So Full of Hell, you guys know Full of Hell. Like, I've talked about them 100 times on here. One of my modern favorite bands. Everything they put out, I pretty much buy it. So I do have the Primitive Man collaboration that they put out earlier this year. But I really enjoyed this one a lot more. And that is because it's different. It's not necessarily what I normally would listen to. Like, Nothing is a band that I don't really know a whole lot about. Have never really gotten into them. They're more of like that shoegaze, I guess, is that the right term for what the kind of music that they play? So like interesting music that I don't listen to. But and then there's Full of Hell, who's just like ferocious and destroys your ears. And they blended together this album that's really, really good. It starts off super assaulting. And like Dylan from Full of Hell's vocals are so good on this album. But the whole album, it blends really well together. It's got the really, aggressive screaming and craziness and chaos because it's Full of Hell. And then it goes into like the more slower, transient, nothing sound. It's interesting. But I really enjoyed this release this year. And this is called Windmill Birds Sang. So if you're looking for something a little bit different, check this out. I think you'll like it. This is probably one of the things, the wild cards of my releases this year that I really enjoyed. So yeah, so that's Full of Hell and Nothing. All right, number 3 is Lunar Chamber with Shambolic Vibrations. Lunar Chamber came out on 20 Bucks Spin pretty early this year. The band is out of US. I've never heard of them before, and this is progressive death doom. So good. This EP is spectacular, and it borderlines EP because it is it's like 28 minutes long. So I guess if add maybe like 10, I don't know what constitutes an EP. We've talked about this several times on here, but it's pretty much close to a full length. It's close to a full length. But it is very proggy, and it's got a lot of incredible bass work. I believe it's a fretless bass. It's a technical album. It's got heavy metal / like power metal guitar solos, synths, death doom. It's a lot. There's a lot going on, but it's also compiled and composed really, really well. This album is simply fantastic. So if you're looking for some more progressive death metal to listen to, because I know how much everybody loves that on this channel, you should definitely check this out. It is phenomenal. This came out pretty early in the year too. It was one of $20 spins. I would say no, that's not true, because Ulthar was already out. It came out in April, so they had several releases out by then. But this is one of the better $20 spin releases that came out this year. That definitely was one of my favorite things that I've played a lot. So that was Lunar Chamber. Number 2 is another one that I don't own, and I went to go buy it, and it was sold out for the CD. I might have to just bite the bullet and get the vinyl record. That is Stargazer with Bound by Spells. Stargazer is a band that I've never talked about on here, and I don't know why, because I really like this band. They're so good. It's like avant-garde blackened death metal, very proggy sounding at times. And this EP is phenomenal. Their last full-length Psychic Secretions, I can never pronounce that, came out in 2021, and it's such a good album. I finally jumped on the Stargazer bandwagon within the last couple years and finally did a bit of a deep dive into the band, and I've been listening to them a lot, and this EP is phenomenal. It's got the mix of heavy metal guitars on here. It's there at times feels proggy. It's got amazing bass lines, and then it's got that blackened death metal feel. So it's got a lot of things added into it, but it is so good. I probably would have had this at my number one if my number one wasn't my number one. Did that make sense? But it's 3 songs, 18 minutes long. The third song, Mater Eld, is phenomenal. The other 2 songs are phenomenal, but that song is so good. So if it's new band to you, check them out. Links will be in the description. And my number 1, which might not be a surprise to anybody at all, is Wolves in the Throne Room with Crypt of Ancestral Knowledge. So this EP is spectacular, and this is probably one of my most spinned records of the year. I saw them live, and they played a couple of these songs. It was so good, and I think that pretty much created more of the love for it for me, was seeing that live. So Wolves in the Throne Room, you guys know this band, right? They're US black metal. They've been around for a long time. They came out with an album, Primordial Arcana, a couple years ago, 2021. Notable, Two Hunters is probably one of their best albums. People always talk about that album. But yeah, this is spectacular. It's got a mix of the dungeon synthy type of atmosphere. It's got the Wolves in the Throne Room black metal sound that they've always had, but it's atmospheric black metal. And then they also incorporate a little bit of that industrial sound in here. But yeah, I can't speak. I don't what's there to be said that hasn't already been said about Wolves in the Throne Room? This is one of my favorite black metal bands, so I was pumped about getting to see them live for the first time this year. And this was phenomenal. And I love that album artwork. It's pretty much exactly what you're getting yourself into when you listen to this. So this is on Relapse Records. Check it out if you haven't yet. And that is my small little list. I'm sure there's a lot of things I missed, so post them in the comments. Let me know what I missed, what I should listen to and go back and listen to, and let me know some of your favorite EPs, demos, and splits that came out this year. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. There's still a couple more videos that are coming out before the end of the year, so see you in the next one.